Hey, what's up guys, I'm Exteria, and in this video we're going to be talking about one of the most inconsistent yet powerful units in the current meta, which is Misfortune Dynamo. This comp is so powerful that we can just go straight damage without any mana regen, since Dynamo gives us mana regen in general. Before we get right into it, in patch 14.2, specifically the Syndicate Kingpin hat, which is basically if you put on MF it buffs her ability, and the thing that they nerf about it is specifically on 7 Syndicate, her power is a little bit weaker. I don't think this affects it too much, since if you play 7 Syndicate, it's still strong either way. It's just that it doesn't guarantee you to win the game. It just makes it to where other people has a chance to beat you. But the main thing that they did change on MF is that her base wave without the Syndicate synergy is a little bit stronger, but with the Syndicate synergy, it's a little bit weaker. So it's hard to say if it's actually better or worse. The thing that makes this comp so good, and the reason why it has a low win rate, is because I feel like most people don't know how to itemize MF correctly. It's that the core item, all you need is just an Infinity Edge so her ability can crit, and you just flex around any physical damage item. I say the best one to have would be in the current meta is Infinity Edge with Giant Slayer, and then whatever other items you can find. The best artifact to put on MF would be a Collector, since you're able to execute units right away, and it gives you more crit with IE. On top of that, Sniper's Focus is very good for flat damage, or if you need extra mana regen, Mana Zane will allow you to cast again quickly. One of these artifacts are actually really good. If you want a more consistent one, Sniper's Focus is probably the most consistent, but if you just want raw damage in general, Collector is fine for that. For Aurora's case, her best core item in general is to have an Archangel Staff. Since her ability allows her to go back, it gives you enough time to stack this item, and the best item to synergize with this stacking AP would be Jewel Gauntlet, since if you crit with Archangel Staff, it does a lot of damage with it. Obviously, one of her best flex items would be Morellicon, because you kind of need an anti-heal to board, or if you want like a little bit extra regen on her, since her mana pool is very large, Adaptive Helm is fine for that. The best artifacts you can put on her is like Azonia's, or if you want raw damage, DFG is fine. Or same thing like the MF Reasoning, Mana Zane, so you can keep casting over and over. The best main tanks you can put on this comp would be to have a Braum first, if you don't have a Leona 2. If you do have Leona 2, might as well put your main tank items on her. Unless you're playing 5 Syndicate, then it's different, then you want to play Braum as the main tank. But overall, the best tank for this comp would be to have a Zac 2. And then items you should build to debuff enemies would be an Even Shroud. You can put Last Whisper on MF instead, if you don't have Even Shroud, that's fine as well. And having a static shield will allow you to have more damage for Aurora. The best emblems you could choose would be either Dynamo or Syndicate. The first item slam you would want to do for this comp would be having an IE, since it works on both Kindred and Jin as item holders. And then for tank item, it could be either Sunfire or Even Shroud, since they're both impactful later in the game, and they're also really strong in the early game. For the opener, I like to do is to have a Jin, Jax, Kindred, and Shyvana. Reasons why, because they all synergize together, and on top of that, when you hit level 5, you can throw in either Exotech, or you can throw in Nitro. Either one you want. When we hit level 8, we transfer our items to MF as the main carry, and then main tank at the time would be Braum. Unless we hit a Leona 2 first, then put the main tank items on her. Unless we're playing 5 Syndicate, then it's better to have Braum as the main carry. Hopefully you guys can understand that. As the third Syndicate unit, if you play 3 Syndicate, it will be Darius, and then to get more Dynamos in, because MF is the Dynamo unit, having a Morgana for extra stats on the board, so she's the Vinicorp, and one of the most powerful budget AP Dynamos, which is Elise. She's actually very powerful, so if you have AP items, just throw it on her, then transfer to Aurora later. For budget tanks you can have at the time, if you can't get a Leona 2, just use a Rost. For a Bruiser with Darius, having a Gragas is really good, or you could do a Kabuko. To fill up the fourth Dynamo, it would be Jin. Unless you get Aurora, then just trade out Jin for Aurora as fast as you can. If we have a Syndicate emblem, you could throw it on Leona, because you want to maintain the Braum, so you could put the Kingpin hat on Braum and MF. If we have a Dynamo spat instead, honestly you kind of have to hit level 9 and throw the spat on Viego, probably like the most useful unit to put it on, or whatever value unit you can throw out. Good +1 units would be like Zac, so when you hit level 9 for the baseboard, you just throw in Zac. If he's level 2, just make him your main tank. Or you could throw in Viego, because he gives you 2 units on the board. For Aurora units, because to pivot a unit for Aurora so she can summon them, the best ones would be like Zac, Kabuko, or better yet, having an Urgot, since Urgot is a backline unit that can also give you some sort of gold or item on his executions. It will help a lot for extra resources. The tips I can give you here is if you have a Shojin Slam instead, then just put it on MF and then you play for 5 Syndicate instead, because you don't need the mana from Dynamo if you have Shojin, so it'll be kind of a waste. You might as well get more damage with 5 Syndicate. So therefore, having 4 Dynamo with Shojin is kind of useless, and you can also maintain the Braum at that point. Now into the team builder segment, so you guys have a better visual idea. The other openers we can play would be like a Kog'Maw, you start out a Kindred for rapid fire, and then hopefully you can get a Skarner, so you can get Boombot in to have the extra damage with Kog'Maw. Throw in a +1 Vanguard, such as Vi would be fine, and then any tank items like Sunfire or Even Shroud, but just for the sake of the video, we're going to show as Even Shroud for main tank items. And first item slam, IE would be best. Alright, we're going to represent this as MF items. So from here, we just play up like more Vanguards over time. So you can throw in like a Rost and then maybe a Braum at level 6. So we have at least some sort of syndicate unit. And then by the time you level 8, then you transition to the full MF board. Another opener that we can do would be a Graves opener. Just put IE on him, and then just play the Bruiser opener instead. So we have Alistair in with a Dr. Mundo, and then we just throw in a +1 unit like Shaco. When you hit level 5, you can throw in like maybe another Executioner to be stronger, such as like Rengar or something. This can help your board a lot. And then at level 6, then maybe Senna would be fine, because she will give more 80 to Graves. So just play anything that's like an 80 opener, it's fine. Or the other opener you can do is Shaco himself as well. This isn't too strong, but at least it's something. And you just have a +1 backline unit. Like, it could be anything like Morgana, or it could be like Zyra. It doesn't really matter. It's just to get the idea of like what kind of 80 openers you can do. But the main one I like to do is to have a Jhin with a Kindred. And then if Kindred's 2 first, then I put IE on her. Unless she's level 1, then I just put on Jhin. And then most of the time, for whatever reason, I always hit a Jax too. Just make him as the main tank. And then hopefully I can look for a Shyvana, because she's actually very powerful. And then level 5, we can look for either Exotech. Like for example, maybe we might find the Fairy. So we put the Exotech item on Jhin if it's an 81. Or if not, we can do a Nidalee, so you can throw in +1 units with Nitro. And then level 6, then I look for the other synergy that I don't use, which is the Exotech. And level 7 doesn't really matter. You can just throw in whatever you can find. Like for example, maybe we find a Darius, just use him for now. To transition from level 8 from here would be really easy. All you have to do is just look for an MF, hopefully. Transfer the carry items to her, which would be really nice. And then our main tank at the time would be a Braum. So just transfer the main tank items from whoever you had at the time to a Braum. And then hopefully you have that Darius, so you can have 3 Syndicate on the board. Just trade out the Fairy for someone more useful, like maybe a Ross, so we have extra tank. And then to give more tank, we can throw in a Gragas because it gives us Bruiser. And then instead of Nidalee, hopefully we get an Elise. So we have 3 Dynamo here, and to get the 4th Dynamo, it will be a Morgana over this Kindred. So transitioning to the base board will look something like this. This board is actually not too bad, and the positioning I like to do would be something like this. It's fine. The tip I can give here is if the enemy is over here, then this positioning for MF is fine. But unless the main carry of the enemy is over here on this side, then you would want to put MF on this side, because you want to go against them, because when she shoots her ult, it has a high chance to hit them on the second cast. And then at level 9, just throw in a Zac. And then for the upgrades, instead of Rost, hopefully you get Leona too. Then you can maintain her. And then upgrade the Gragas, you can throw in Okabuko, which is really good. Level 9, hopefully you can get a Zac. If he's level 2, make him the main tank. That's basically about it. Oh, and one more upgrade as well, which I almost forgot. Aurora over the Jhin. If you get Aurora 1, it's fine. Just trade out the Jhin as fast as you can, because Aurora is more powerful. If you have emblem, like for example, like a Syndicate emblem, then you can just throw it on Leona, and then have a Shaco, and you can have a TF in. Just take out the Kobuko, and this should be fine. Unless you have a Dynamo emblem instead, then what you want to look for is to have 4 Vanguards from here. So you take out the Elise, and just use these as your units for now. Throw in a J4, and the Rost. And then this will be technically your board here, which looks pretty simple, right? If you have a main tank Zac. Unless you don't have a Zac, then you could do a Viego instead, and then make Leona the main tank, and then just have Dynamo on the Viego instead. And that's basically about it. It's actually pretty simple for like some of these stuff. So hopefully you guys can understand what I'm trying to show here. The augments we want to auto-collect right away is if you have Memory Bank. This augment is very powerful for Dynamo units, and you get a free Aurora. The only downside to this is you have to play Dynamo to begin with, so you'd be kind of weak with Jhin and just Morgana on the board, so figure a way out to be strong. Piercing Lotus is very powerful for the comp because you kind of need crit, and it helps MF a lot with her damage. Cybernetic Uplink is actually a lot better than Mana Flow because they auto-attack very slow, so gaining more mana this way is actually a lot better. Big grab bag since we need a lot more items on the board. And speaking of items, almost all the artifacts are pretty good for each of these units. If you want to BIS your units better, Component Buffet is really good for that. All that shimmers you can get Collector for MF is very good for her. Since we need a lot of swords, Spear's Will is not bad on her for MF. And the best econ augments we can take here would be like Raining Gold or Slammin. Slammin, I see a lot of people put items in their bench and it doesn't work. Just remember that if you're going to use this augment, you have to put the items on the board, not the bench. And then like I said earlier, Mana Flow is okay. It's not the worst augment, but it's not the best. Burial Link is actually really good because most of the time when you play this comp, you're probably going to be around like 40 HP. So this is a really good defensive augment. Same with Noble Sacrifice. It's pretty good to give more tankiness for your board. The augment power order I like to do is like some sort of econ augment. I know I misspelled it, my bad. But yeah, I like to take like Raining Gold or Slammin. If not, we take like an item augment to power up MF a little bit more, or just any sort of combat augment is fine. There's 2 different type of playstyles. This one is high tempo, which is basically win streaking the fast 8. To do that is at stage 2-1, you want to hit level 4. Throw your strongest board you can make. At stage 2-3, always make intervals at 10 gold, like 10, 20, 30 gold. If you have somewhere around like 14, 24, 34 gold, you can pre-level to 5, which will look something like this in your shop. The reason why you do this is because when you come back from Karasa, you have a level 5 shop, you have a chance to get a 4 cost unit. Therefore, you might be able to get an MF. if you're lucky enough. If not, you can skip this part and then just hit level 5 at stage 2-4 instead. Either one works. At stage 2-6 or even 2-5, make intervals again of 20, 30, 40 gold, because if you do, you'll be rich, so you can hit level 8 faster. If not, you'll be poor. At stage 3-2 or even earlier, you can hit level 6 to power up your board. Stage 3-7 or earlier again, to power up your board, hit level 7. And then stage 4-2 or 4-1, if you're contested, you should do this at 4-1, hit level 8, and then roll for your board. For the loose streak style, the fast 8, what you want to do is you just don't level at all. From here, you can open fort, meaning you just have like nothing on the board, just make a lot of money. Try to make intervals of 10 gold as much as you can, like 10, 20, 30, 40 gold. At stage 2-6, during Krugs basically, if you are too weak, you can level up to level 5 to at least beat the round. At stage 3-2, hit level 6, and you might want to roll a little bit to make your board stronger, because if you don't, you probably will die too quick. At stage 3-7, hit level 7, and then at stage 4-1 and 4-2, you hit level 8 and then roll for your board. This is the loose streak style. I feel like most of us know how to do this, so if you don't, this is how you do it. And that's it for the MF Dynamo comp. If you have any questions, just let me in the comment section down below. I'll try to answer to the best of my capabilities. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.